And welcome back to your mum's favorite channel on YouTube, Cult Strength. Now today guys, we're talking equipment, right? What equipment do you need to start powerlifting or strength training? Now let me be really honest with you, you don't need any equipment to get started, right? All the equipment, they're all tools and it's all a bonus. And yeah, technically, they're all luxuries, right? But what I will do today is help you prioritize what equipment you're going to buy to obviously help you with your training and your results, because that's important. There's a lot of good products, a lot of bad products, and a lot of stuff you really don't need. So hopefully I can help, but we'll get started now. Enjoy. All right, now we're going to talk sleeves. We'll talk knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, and shin sleeves, right? Now there's obviously many different kinds of sleeves you can buy. Do you need them? They help. They definitely help sometimes. But again, it's up to you, right? I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't wear, but I'll tell you they definitely do help. Now, brands, there's heaps of brands, but what you need to look for, okay, when you're buying, let's say, a knee sleeve, you're gonna have things like 5mm, 7mm, and 9mm. Even these days, you've got like rigor mortis, which is like super stiff, which is almost like wearing a knee wrap. But what I'm gonna talk about is the 5, 7, and 9mm knee sleeves. They're probably the ones I would personally go for, because when I'm using knee sleeves in training, I'm not trying to get them to do the job of a knee wrap. I'm trying to get these sleeves to give me some warmth and compression and security around the knee joint. So personally, I tend to have 2 pairs of sleeves, 7mm and 9mm. Now when things start getting really heavy with my squats and I'm still in sleeves, I'm talking when they're upwards of 300 kilos in sleeves, I'll use a thicker 9mm, but the most of my training is done with a 7mm sleeve. Now you don't have to have 2 pairs. This is my job. I do this at a very high level, so I have all the equipment I need. But you could really get away with, like a 7mm sleeve. I think that would be best for the knees, right? When it comes to elbow sleeves, I tend to stick to the 5mm, right? Because when I'm doing my bench press, for example, and I'm using elbow sleeves, there's something I need to consider here. It's that in competition, I can't use anything on my elbows. I can use my knee wraps on my knees, but we have to bench press completely raw. So I'm not trying to get assistance out of my elbow sleeves. I'm trying to get, again, just warmth, just compression, because we get a lot of volume. When you're doing a lot of volume with heavy weights, you do get a little beat up. Your joints can get a little sore. So having that support and that compression definitely does help in the long run with longevity. So when it comes to elbow sleeves, I tend to stick to the 5mm range. And again, I don't buy them super tight. There's a lot of different measurements online, but I just get a comfortable fitting elbow sleeve that's gonna give me some warmth and support. If you're wanting assistance out of them, well, obviously you can buy a thicker sleeve and you can buy it tighter. That's gonna give you more assistance during the lift. And the same goes with knee sleeves as well, right? It really depends what you're trying to get out of them. As I said, I'm a wrap squatter in competition, so I'm not trying to get loads of assistance out of my knee sleeves. That defeats the purpose. That's essentially, sleeve training is my raw training, right? I'm just doing it with some mindfulness around longevity with that support around my knees. So I'm not trying to get assistance out of them. Now, when it comes to shin sleeves, this is again optional as hell, right? I personally don't like smacking the barbell into my shins every time I deadlift. You cut yourself pretty quickly, you'll bleed all over the bar, you bleed all over the floor. It's inconvenient to you, it's inconvenient to others, and it's a bit gross, to be honest. You don't want your blood all over the bar with other people using it. I find shin sleeves are excellent, and also the function of those is that you can prevent yourself from obviously developing those bruising on your shins. When we develop bruising on the shins, we tend to want to avoid it, right? We start deadlifting around the shins, and sometimes that's not good. Sometimes that really affects your technique. So by having a shin sleeve, it will allow you to keep that bar on the shins closer to where it needs to be versus obviously away around obviously the sore part on your shin, which isn't productive to your technique or to your strength. Now, I'll talk about, I think at the end of the video, I'll go over it all again and I'll tell you what you should prioritize. But for now, we'll just keep checking through these. So far we've done the feet, we've done the shoes, and we've done the knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, and shin sleeves, you know what I mean? But I would say the most important would be the knee sleeves and the elbow sleeves there. Not everyone wears shin sleeves. I do because I have them, right? It is what it is. I hope that helps. We'll be back in a minute we're gonna talk belts. All right, guys, now we're gonna talk belts. If you're finding this useful so far, please like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe. Now, belts. We have many options with belts, okay? So we're gonna talk about all the options. Now, what we need to consider here is if you're a powerlifter, okay, if you're competing in powerlifting, there is obviously also guidelines to what belts you can legally use. So we'll take some things off the table, okay? In competition, we can't use a Velcro belt, so it has to be something like this. You've probably seen these before. This is a leather belt. It doesn't have to be leather, but it does have to be something like this, a powerlifting belt. Now, you have options when it comes to these as well. Multiple options. We'll talk about the main ones. You have 10 millimeter and 13 millimeter. These are options you're gonna see when you go on any website to buy a belt. That's gonna determine how thick this is here, right? This is a 13 millimeter, it's thicker. Why is it thicker? I'm a bigger kind of guy lifting big weights. I could definitely deal with a thicker, more uncomfortable belt. Typically they're a little more uncomfortable, a little stiffer, right? You do have to break them in. Now, a 10 millimeter belt may be more suitable for someone who's newer to the sport, who doesn't need quite as much rigidity in that belt if not handling such heavy loads. And it's a little bit easier to use because it's a little more comfortable, right? The more uncomfortable something is, generally, the harder it is to learn how to use it because we're a little distracted by the discomfort. So, you know, entry-level belts, you know, your 10 millimeter belts, you've also got prong and lever. What's the difference? This is a lever belt. You've probably seen these bad boys. You'll flick the lever when you finish a lift. Looks pretty cool, right? Bah, pop it off. Very easy to use. You know, I like it. I use a lever belt, but I also have a prong belt. A prong belt is a normal belt which you have the little steel prong and you poke it through the hole, right? Sometimes it's hard to get it out. Sometimes it's hard to get it in. That's what she said. Or he said, depending if you pull sumo or not. But regardless, that's a very personal preference. It doesn't really matter in terms of performance of the belt. They're gonna do the same thing. I just like the easy to use and efficiency of the lever. As I said, this is a 13 millimeter lever belt. This is custom. This is a custom made Colt leader belt. And I love it. I've had it for a couple of years now. Probably update it again soon. But yeah, I've stuck with the 13 millimeter lever for quite some time. But I did start with a 10 millimeter prong. You're gonna get, you know, a big difference in price as well with all things, right? With all things, whether it's shoes, sleeves, etc. And it really depends on what you want. Now, yes, you pay for what you get most of the time, right? There's some excellent companies out there that do incredible belts and incredible equipment, but you pay a premium price, as you should. That's life, that's business. You can also get something really basic. You can get a basic lever belt, I'd say for around 90 bucks if you're lucky, you know, but again, you get what you pay for. This one would cost you around probably 300 or 400 bucks, but it is custom. You know, it has a custom lever as well, custom work on the inside. So, you know, I paid for it. I didn't pay for it technically. It was a gift or a sponsorship, but you get what you pay for. But you avoid avoid the Velcro belts, the soft belts, not because they don't work, just because you probably can't use it in competition. So there wouldn't be much point buying one if you're going to do comps. But also, they will not give you the same support. They're made for dynamic things, right? I would say they're more suitable for your Olympic lifting or CrossFit because you can take them on and off quickly. You have to bend a lot more and move a lot more, and they're lighter. You know, us, it's a static sport. You don't have to move around. We just want absolute rigidity, you know, through our torso, and a good quality belt will definitely help with that. We'll be back in a minute, and we're going to talk knee wraps and wrist wraps. Let's get it. All right, guys, now we're going to talk straps and wrist wraps, knee wraps, right? We'll start with the wrist wraps. Now, a little plug to myself. I do produce my own knee wraps and wrist wraps, but I do produce the best knee wraps and wrist wraps. Absolutely not biased at all. Just ask your mum. Now, these are 36-inch wrist wraps, God killer wrist wraps, right? There's multiple lengths and stiffnesses and materials you can get for wrist wraps, right? There's all sorts of different ones out there, which is fine. I have these in white and black, by the way. So if you want to pick up a pair, coltstrength.square.site. Now, I like 36-inch length for my wrist wraps. Why is that? Well, obviously, I'm pretty big dude, and you know, I have a pretty big bench press. We're getting close to 600 pounds there. And what a longer wrist wrap will do is give you more surface area to wrap and also allow you to wrap a little tighter, right? You're getting more revolutions, therefore more support, right? Most people you'll find, most people would be probably better suited or just as well suited to I think it's a 24-inch wrist wrap, it's the next one down. But in my opinion, I'm like, why not just get the big bad boys? They're gonna give you more support. You don't have to wrap them as tight. You can wrap them, you know, a little loose if you don't want all the support. But I think buying the maximum legal length, because in competition, 36 inches is maximum legal length for your wrist wrap. Again, you can get different brands, different colors, but I don't like them. That's why I made my own. I made my own colors because I didn't want to wear like orange and green and pink and yellow and purple, right? I just like black and white, nice and easy. But that's up to you, that's your personal preference. But wrist wraps are excellent for bench pressing, obviously supporting the weight when we bench, but also arguably just as good for a low bar back squat. Now, why do you need wrist wraps when you're doing a squat? Well, low bar back squatting is different to high bar back squatting, right? It's sitting, the barbell sitting along our rear delts, meaning that typically the barbell is sitting in our hand like this. So we're getting forced back here with typically quite a heavy load, which can be quite uncomfortable on the wrist. And when you obviously wrap your wrist correctly, what are we going to achieve? What is the function of this? It's going to stop our wrist from folding back under load. So I can't, right? Like that and that. That's going to give me more support. So I'm going to be less likely to fuck my shit up when I'm squatting heavy. Now, knee wraps. Knee wraps, again, personal thing, not everybody will use knee wraps. Most people will probably just use knee sleeves for the duration of their lifting lifestyle, lifting lifespan, right? They won't ever venture into knee wraps. But if you're a power lifter, if you want to be competitive, well, this is your edge, right? There's still a lot of power lifters that compete in wrapped competitions with knee sleeves. And to be honest, the reason is because these are uncomfortable. They can hurt and they're hard to learn. But if you can master the equipment, you know, you can get upwards 30 to 40 kilograms assistance in your squat with a good knee wrap, sometimes even more. But again, if you just put them on and you haven't used them before, don't be surprised if you squat less. Now, the length of the knee wrap, that's kind of important as well. Maximum legal length for a knee wrap is 2.5 meters in, I would say, 95% of federations. Some federations allow 3 meters. I'm not sure if they do anymore. The IPF only allow knee wraps in their equipped powerlifting division, which is different altogether, and you're only allowed 2 meter knee wraps. But that won't apply to most people because most people lift raw, not equipped. And again, different stiffness, different branding. We have black and white, of course. And I would say that you want a knee wrap that isn't too stiff, but also is dense. And that's why I kind of had these made a particular way, right? I wanted something that is stretchy and not stiff, but is dense and thick. So when it's fully stretched, it provides you excellent support in that full stretch position and it's not flimsy. So in my opinion, these are the best wraps on the market. And I don't think you can argue. It is what it is, it's my channel. If you want to argue in the comments, feel free, but I'll probably just delete them because it doesn't look good for business. I'm just joking. Figure 6 straps. Again, this is a training tool. You're not really allowed to use these in competition. Strongman, yes you can. You can also get figure 8 straps. I only have my figure 6s here at the moment. What's the difference? One's a figure 6, one's a figure 8. It's not that simple, but figure 6 meaning this is not joined here, right? You'll find that a figure 8, there's a loop, and it's just a different function. It's just a different function. You don't really have to hold onto the bar with a figure 8. With a figure 6 though, typically when you wrap the wrap around the bar, you still have to hold the bar to keep it in place. And I prefer these because you can just drop the bar and you're gone. with the figure eights, you're hooked into the bar, and it's a pain in the ass to get in and out. That's what she said, or he said. Again, depending on what kind of deadlifting you do. But that's knee wraps, that's straps, and that's wrist wraps. I think I said that properly. There's a lot of wraps and straps there. And again, if you want the equipment, you want those, head to my website, cultstrength.square.site. Also have squat, bench, and deadlift programs. We have merch, and in the next few days, hopefully, the Cult Strength Method is launching, which is my new evolved online coaching and programming system. So I'm excited for that, and I know you are too. We're back in a minute. We have one more thing to cover, and remember, at the end of this video, I'm going to help you prioritize what you should buy first and what maybe isn't as important, because that's really important to know. Let's go. All right, now before we wrap it up and before I obviously help you prioritize what equipment you're going to buy, there's one more piece of equipment that you would need if you're powerlifting and you want to do competition, and that is the old ugly powerlifting soft suit, which kind of looks like a wrestling suit, the one-piece suit, right? I don't have one on right now. I'm terribly sorry, but I'll find a picture, put it up on the screen here. That's what I'm talking about. Not the most flattering things in the world, right? And I'm sure that actually deters a lot of people from competing, but I would say, suck it up. If you don't feel good about yourself and how you look in that, use that as motivation to do something positive for yourself and get some more confidence. Now, priorities, what other things? As I said, you don't need anything to start, right? Apart from a soft suit, you have to compete in a soft suit, but let's just say you're strength training. What do you need to get in the gym to take your training seriously? Nothing. You don't need anything, but again, not what this is about. What things are more important than others? That's a better question. I'm starting with a belt. If I had to get one piece of equipment, it'd be a belt. I'd start with this. And as I said, this is the 13 mil lever, but you would be fine probably with a 10 millimeter prong or even a 10 millimeter lever. If you're a bigger guy, over 100 kilos maybe, yeah, you could probably deal with a 13 mil pretty fine. But again, that's up to you. Even I know some smaller people who still like using 13 mils. It's just personal preference. Obviously trying them on helps, but we can't always do that, so I'm trying to help the best I can. Now, after a belt, I would go, it's a tough one. I'm gonna go wrist wraps. Wrist wraps are excellent. We can use them for bench press. We can use them when we squat. And let me tell you right now from experience, the wrist joint is probably one of the joints that gets fucked up pretty quickly if you don't have support there, okay? Now, I've played a lot of other sports in my life, and I've had a lot of wrist and hand injuries. So for me, these are high priority, and even if you haven't had a fucking bunch of injuries, I definitely think these are a good idea. As I said, if you want my ones, go to our website, cultstrength.square.site. Third priority, knee sleeves. Knee sleeves come before knee wraps. I sell knee wraps, but I'm telling you right now, if you haven't got knee sleeves and you haven't got knee wraps and you're thinking, what should I buy? Start with sleeves. Always start with sleeves. You'll even use your sleeves when you're using wraps. Not at the same time, but you'll use them, in the same training session, let's say. Now, why are these more important than a knee wrap? Well, I just feel like for most people, they're gonna do 80%, 75% of their squatting in sleeves over knee wraps. Knee wraps are more so, in my opinion, used when you're peaking for a competition as a competitive powerlifter, or if you're just peaking your squat in the gym. Let's say you're not a powerlifter, but you're interested in that training style and you want to get a new 1 rep max, you want to have a big squat. I would utilize a knee wrap for at least the last 6 to 10 weeks of your peaking cycle for your program. But all the months before that, I would be in sleeves. I'd be building my raw strength. Because think of this, we do have to develop raw strength without using assistance. The tools that we have, AKA the knee wraps, are an excellent tool to help you increase, the weight on the bar by giving you assistance. But we first must develop that base strength, right? Across all things. I think base strength is a priority. You build that strength, right? And then you chuck the knee wraps on with that strength, and then you start to use, obviously, a specific technique to get more out of the knee wrap. That's, in my opinion, the best way to do it. So I would definitely go belt, wrist wraps, and knee sleeves. And then after that, if you got those, and then you want to get some knee wraps, then definitely grab some. I think knee wraps also excellent, especially if you're really serious about your squatting. If you want to maximize the amount of weight on the bar, knee wraps without a doubt are going to be your best friend. As I said, once you get really good at using them and you can wrap tight enough, you will get upwards of 30 to 40 kilos. I've known some people to get over 60 kilograms out of knee wraps. That's crazy. That's a lot of weight, right? But obviously there's a technique to that as well. But I think that's all I'm going to share with you for today. I think that's all the equipment covered, most of the important stuff anyway. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you. As I said, I have all my programs, my wraps. We have some merch coming, cultstrength.square.site. And if you liked this, please like the video, drop a comment, let me know what you enjoyed, if you learned something, and please subscribe. But until next time, you know what to do. Go to the fucking gym, baby. Let's get it.